Louis XVIII remounted the throne. Villefort, to whom Marseille had become filled with remorseful memories, sought and obtained the situation of the king's procureur at Toulouse, and fortnight afterwards he married Mademoiselle de Saint-Méran, whose father now stood higher at court than ever. And so Dante, after the 100 Days and after Waterloo, remained in his dungeon, forgotten of earth and heaven. Danglars comprehended the full extent of the wretched fate that overwhelmed Dante, and when Napoleon returned to France, he, after the manner of mediocre minds, turned the coincidence a decree of Providence. But when Napoleon returned to Paris, Danglars' heart failed him, and he lived in constant fear of Dante's return on a mission of vengeance. He therefore informed Monsieur Morel of his wish to quit the sea, and obtained a recommendation from him to a Spanish merchant, into whose service he entered at the end of March, that is, 10 or 12 days after Napoleon's return. He then left for Madrid, and was no more heard of. Fernand understood nothing except that Dante was absent. What had become of him he cared not to inquire. Only, during the respite the absence of his rival afforded him, he reflected, partly on the means of deceiving Mercédès as to the cause of his absence, partly on plans of emigration and abduction, as from time to time he sat sad and motionless in the summit of Cape Ferro, at the spot from whence Marseille and the Catalans are visible, watching for the apparition of a young and handsome man, who was for him also the messenger of vengeance. Fernand's mind was made up. He would shoot Dante and then kill himself. But Fernand was mistaken. A man of his disposition never kills himself, for he constantly hopes. During this time the empire made its last conscription, and every man in France capable of bearing arms rushed to obey the summons of the emperor. Fernand departed with the rest, bearing with him the terrible thought that while he was away, his rival would perhaps return and marry Mercédès. Had Fernand really meant to kill himself, he would have done so when he parted from Mercédès. His devotion, and the compassion he showed for her misfortunes, produced the effect they always produce on noble minds. Mercédès had always had a sincere regard for Fernand, and this was now strengthened by gratitude. Holy crap. Just a breakneck update on Danglars and Fernand, who, what a like, hold on, I'm processing this in real time here. Danglars and Fernand, when Napoleon returns, aren't afraid of Napoleon's return. They're afraid that Napoleon's return means that Dante is going to be released and Dante is going to seek vengeance on the both of them. And Danglars particularly so afraid of this that he's like, Morel, I think I'm done with the sea. I'm not going to step foot on the ocean one more time. Can you recommend me to a place maybe outside the country, a place where I'm not going to be seen again, some merchants maybe over in Spain, and just like he leaves Dodge. He wants nothing to do with the potential return of Dante. And Fernand, likewise, he's constantly telling Mercédès that, yeah, you know, he's probably been abducted or he probably emigrated somewhere. But in the back of his mind, too, he's like, Dante's going to come back here and it's not going to be good. If he does, I'm going to have to kill him and kill myself. But I don't want to kill myself because, you know, I'm a proud guy who hopes for things. It's a poor way of stating it. But why exactly are these two, like, is there something we don't know about Dante that is making them believe he has this bloodlusty vengeance in him? I mean, sure, anybody would want to exact some form of revenge or confrontation on the people who have imprisoned him in a dungeon for many years, delaying his wedding, delaying his promotion of becoming a captain of a ship and going forward with his life. But Dante seems like a nice guy. Like, there's got to be some forgiveness. And I've not seen any indication that he's going to come out of the dungeons and want to just start slitting throats. So I'm wondering if there's something we don't know about him, or are we just supposed to take it that Dante, like anybody, would be seeking blood for revenge? Maybe. I don't know. Let's go back to our history lessons with Napoleon, the 100 Days, and the aftermath. As we said, Waterloo, the biggest defeat Napoleon has ever encountered. Bloody, and basically, Napoleon returns to Paris after this and is forced to abdicate once again. He does this on June 22nd of 1815, and he suggests that the power should be handed over to his son, but that never happens. First, he hopes actually to escape to America, which is where his brother, Joseph, who was appointed king of Spain, king of somewhere in Europe. He was appointed king, and Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother, actually ends up in New Jersey, of all places. I only know of that due to my co-host of Movie Memory Machine, Truman Caps, who has studied this part of history pretty extensively. But Napoleon himself does not make it all the way to America. He is blocked by British ships who are just like, yeah, you think you're getting by here. You're not getting by here, dude. You are not going to go off and start conquering another part of the world and then come back again and try to take us over. So, who knows? Maybe if he did, we would have had World War I a lot sooner than the early 1900s. But basically what happens here as he is trying to escape again, the British Navy essentially stop him and he surrenders to them, and he is now in their care. We'll find out the full aftermath of what happens to Napoleon for the rest of his life in the final episode of this season, which is tomorrow. But since this is the penultimate episode, I got to say it. I'm sorry if you're rolling your eyes at me. You can hit that 30-second skip button if you really want to, but please don't, and listen to what I have to say. Your contributions, the fact that you are listening to the show day in and day out, even if you miss a couple and come back, batch listen, listen, I'm so thankful that you're here and that we're doing this together. And as we've seen in this chapter, I get pangs of anxiety when I notice some of the parallels between what's happening in Napoleonic France and what's happening in modern day America. We're going to get through this together. That's the whole premise of the show. We're counting down every day for 4 years, and we can do this together. But you can make that more of a reality by considering contributing to our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod, which is the Patreon for our entire podcast network, for as little as $1. And you get bonus episodes like the story-only audio of each chapter, which tomorrow, chapter 13, will be up there. And you'll be able to listen to the story-only audio from chapter 1 to 13 without my commentary if you just want to listen to the story straight through. Yes, you're still going to get my mispronunciations of things, but all of those are out there, as well as some other fun bonuses. And you can get that for as little as $1 or as much as you want to pay per month. And if you can't, I totally understand. That's totally understandable. We're living in precarious times. But if you can rate and review the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. It goes a long way to helping others find the show. And we want to grow as much as we can over the next 4 years. Because the more of us that there are getting through this together, the more hope I have for the next 4 years. Okay. I made my pitch, and you'll hear it again tomorrow. But join us then as we close out Chapter 13 here on the Count of Monte Cristo. I'll see you then. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.